covering the community, events, and people of Georgia, Carolina. This is the Means Report. Here is Brad Means.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm not Brad Means. I'm Jennie Montgomery. Happy to be sitting in today for Brad. It is a pleasure to be with you. We've got a great show today, beginning with a visit from a Saturday Night Live veteran, Terry Sweeney. He's just published his first book, and we will get a sneak peek at that. Irritable Bowels and the People Who Give You Them. Just the title tells you we are in for a wild ride here. And we have tips on preparing for college, both financially and emotionally, with an expert from Augusta University, Dr. Mark Allen Poisel. And Will Kaywood will share advice about merging your money when you marry. So, lots on tap today. Let's get started. If you've been a fan of Saturday Night Live over the years, then you may remember cast member Terry Sweeney. Take a look. Terry regularly portrayed then First Lady Nancy Reagan like nobody else could. Terry shared the spotlight with Randy Quaid, Robert Downey Jr., gosh, a lot of them, Joan Cusack, John Lovitz. He also co-wrote that classic summer film set in Myrtle Beach, Shag. And now he is adding author to his resume. We are delighted to have Terry Sweeney with us this afternoon. Terry, I am so glad that you are here in Augusta.
I am happy to be in Augusta. I love Augusta.
Terry, in full disclosure here, Terry and I have been friends for a number of years. A number of decades,
Let's not get too
truthfully.
Our disclosure's getting very full. How about semi-disclosure?
Yes, yes. But Terry lives in Beaufort now, like he said, and he has written a book called Irritable Bowels and the People Who Give You Them. Terry, this is such a funny book, beginning with a title that is almost uncomfortable to say, but as you point out, irritable bowels don't necessarily come from your diet.
No, and I think that's a mistake that everyone makes. They think, oh, I shouldn't, maybe it's gluten, no. It is your boss, it's the people you work with, it's your clients, it's in-laws, it's family, it's relatives. We're all aggravated every single day of our lives. And so this is about people that make you crazy, or that are clueless in your life, and you just even know how to correct their behavior. So I just kind of, starting with my parents, the first two.
The parents is where it started, huh?
Yes, those two, yes.
Terry, you write hilarious stories about your family, an unbelievable story about your brother.
Yes.
And a neighborhood spectacle. And an Electrolux.
Well, my brother we were home alone. He's supposed to be watching me, my older brother, and he decided he had broken my mother's vacuum cleaner, her new Electrolux vacuum cleaner. So he put it on his lap, and he was sitting in his boxer shorts, and he was fiddling with it. And I was being a little bratty kid. I go, are you sure you should be doing that? I don't think. He goes, shut up, mind your own business. So I said, okay, if you know what you're doing. He goes, I know what I'm doing. Well, apparently he did, because one of his pokes with a screwdriver, and the Electrolux went and took his boxer shorts and everything in it up. And actually, I had to call paramedics to come. And actually, they're not qualified to remove a vacuum cleaner from you. Once parts of you are part of the vacuum cleaner, you need a surgeon. So that he was actually wheeled out of our house on a gurney with a vacuum cleaner, with a sheet over it, which looked even sadder, past all our neighbors. And I thought we were going to have to move for sure. But yeah, and then we take the hospital. Oh, eventually he was fine. I mean, he had children later.
He was, okay, I was going to say.
He was able to have children many years later.
Did all the parts remain attached to him?
Yes, but it was quite embarrassing.
Embarrassing, and that's part of the thing that's so funny. You described so well your mother in this.
Oh, my God.
And I think your family, Terry, could have been the first reality TV show if we had had reality shows then.
Yes. Well, I have a Sicilian mother, and this is World War II. People had survived the World War II. My parents were prejudiced against all kinds of ethnic groups, including my mother, Italian mother, made fun of my father and called him an Irish Mick and a Bowery bum, and even drink, and a donkey. And my father would call her a spaghetti twist and grease ball. I mean, I thought I'm half that, and I'm half that, and I'm gay. Well, good luck.
Well, and that's a part of it. You grow up, and you fully say you grow up in a family with parents who were bigots, and then you felt bullied, and you have stories about that because here you were, you knew you were gay.
I knew I was gay from a very early age, And I mean, I certainly didn't confide it to my parents. I knew their reaction would be great. So, but yeah, I was bullied, and this was before bullying has become an issue, which I'm very happy that it's out, and people talk about being bullied, and you can report it, and people take it seriously. But back then, you were just a snitch. It was like, I remember compared middle school to prison, because, you know, if you snitched, there were these homicidal muscle that ran the joint. You know, you couldn't tell the principal, you couldn't tell your parents. You just suffered through it and tried to get through. So I had to grow tough skin. I'm also a very good runner. I'm very fast. I could have been on the track team. I could run like nobody's business. I could be gone.
Do you think your natural sense of humor helped you survive those years?
Yes, it did. It did. And I think also, I couldn't understand what the big deal was. I mean, they were calling me sissy kid and everything. I go, but what's so good? I'm graceful. I'm funny. I can dance. I have a great voice. I thought, I'm so talented and wonderful. What is their problem? So I think for some reason I got a very healthy dose of self-confidence and self-esteem, and I don't know where it came from. Except my mother saying we're better than everybody else. That was probably it.
Well, we're better than everybody.
We're better than this entire block. That's what my mother told me.
The lines, your mother in this book is hilarious. I mean, it's really, really fun. And it's the kind of thing so many people can relate to the situations you describe. Not exactly the situation itself, but, you know, we know those characters in our lives. We know the people that have done crazy stories. And that makes it fun. It makes it easy for people just to read page after page after page.
Yeah, by the time I got to the South, which is where for the last 4 chapters about Beaufort, South Carolina, and I changed a lot of the names because I lived there. So the other names I couldn't change to my family. My brother's my brother and whatever.
Well, before you got to Beaufort, you worked in New York. Of course, you worked in Saturday Night Live. You were a screenwriter. You wrote for Mad TV.
Right.
You co-wrote the movie Shag. You went from New York.
I went from New York,
to
which I was a
Hollywood.
I was a waiter in New York. I was working in a restaurant in Boston and New York called the Magic Pan. I worked at the Creperie.
Yes.
And I was I was a host. They didn't let me be a waiter yet because they didn't think even after graduating from Middlebury College, they thought, you know, we have to pour water in people's glasses and take orders. And this guy, one of the managers with like whiskey in his breast said, you're not ready yet.
Yeah,
I'm
your
like,
degree didn't
really?
qualify you.
Oh,
no,
I'm sorry. So I was in front of the house. I was like the gaitre d'. That's what I thought. They stuck me in the front, and I was just charming and happy little clip-on tie. That was it. And then, but I moved on. Then I got the job on Saturday Night Live, which I didn't know anybody, had no agent, and the story is actually I wrote all these sketches, brought them to 30 Rock, and then I realized there were tough security guards there, and so I thought, how am I going to get past these guards? They were big, strong black guys giving everyone never smiles, would not let anybody buy unless they had the proper ID. So I went into the coffee shop and I got lunch. I got like 7 sandwiches and 8 sodas, and I said, lunch for Saturday Night Live, and I gave it to them. And the guy said, do your job, get in that elevator and go up there. I mean, they kept pushing me up and I got through to Saturday Night Live. Got my sketches in.
You know, I love stories like that. You had to be so resourceful. You had to figure out a way to do it.
Right.
And you knew that you had it in you, and you just had to get somebody to listen to. You had to get your sketches in somebody's hand.
Right.
And it's a great story about that perseverance and knowing you could do it, and knowing, you know, if I don't do it now, I might not do it. I've got to give this a chance. Well, Hollywood presented a whole other set of challenges.
Right.
And you described them so beautifully, and they are so funny to where I'm crying reading about them, especially the lunch from you know where with the agent.
Oh, with the agent? Oh my God! I had an agent that talked with his mouth open, and I mean, maybe ate with his mouth. Always, he would spit food all over you while he talked, and usually about other people's clients. He'd always tell you, "This movie made millions of dollars this past weekend, opening box office," and I had to go search my couch for change to buy gas to get there to meet him, and he'd tell me how great other people were doing.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what are you doing to help me? This is very upsetting to me. But I have a thing, if I'm eating with someone, if they don't eat a certain way, if people eat horribly like that and talk, I mean, we've all had them with people, you go like, oh my God, no, they're not going to eat. I can see food. No. So I just kept picking up my plate. I would order dessert and look down like this so I wouldn't see. Because he'd order things like cherry cheesecake, please. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to see that. I can't look at that. It's not going to be pretty. Oh my God.
Well, the book is it's a terrific read. You can get it on Amazon.
Amazon.com, you certainly can.
And what you're really going to love too is the tales that you have about leaving that life,
Right.
arriving in Beaufort, South Carolina as Hollywood comes to Beaufort.
Right.
And the funny way that people's perceptions of you change totally, the way that they treat you. And also, I love the story about, oh, you need a new doorknob? Okay, yeah, that'll be $5,000.
Yeah, we had a gospel never said. She had asked, let me ask you a question. Do you have to work for a living? And I said, yeah, I still have to work for. Yes, I work. I'm not. She goes, are you independently wealthy? No. I really. She told everybody that we were Hollywood millionaires. Now, if I had, and of course, that's when anybody came to our house, you know, like, oh, your toilet is stuff. You know, for $5,000, I can take a plunger and go up there and I can make it work. I mean, everything was $5,000 because of her. But if I told her that, yes, we're rich, she would have said, I don't believe he has a pot to pee in.
Oh, nice.
Making
nice.
up stuff.
You did renovate a historic home.
I did renovate a
Beaufort.
historic home, yes. But from 1792, that's what the little marker outside it said, which I realized meant there were 1,792 things that needed to be fixed.
Yeah.
So it cost a lot. That's those things, that old money pit, like, oh, shovel it into that house. But I love that house. It was crazy, that house, but I loved it. I loved it.
Well, Terry, we love you and love the way that you have shared your life, and it will make everybody appreciate the characters in your life. It's neat to think about how you've had opportunities in your life to call people out in a funny way.
Right. Right.
And you'll see those kind of stories here. And I wish we could just talk to you for this entire show.
All right.
But we're not going to be able to. But again, I thank you for being here. And I would
you.
certainly encourage all of our viewers to go to Amazon.com and check out Terry's book. It is a lot of fun. Terry Sweeney,
thank you.
Thank you for your time today.
Oh, so pleased.
And coming up right after the break, we have tips on preparing for college, both financially and emotionally, parents, with an expert from Augusta University, Dr. Mark Allen Poisel. Keep it right here.